we're not gonna have time to go into a lot of details. Plus, I'm not the history expert. There's different elements to this. I'm going to hit the key elements that are going to help drive the Islamic science topics, inshallah. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Before rightly guided caliphs.
Yes. So, one basic thing for you to know, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that after me there would be the caliphate of the righteous people, Khilafah al-Rashidah. These are his words, and it'll last 30 years. It'll last 30 years. And he also predicted that there will be a lot of fitna and chaos after. Okay. So, guess what happened after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Before I talk about that, remember the famous Hadith Jibril that we started with, which is the pillars of Iman, pillars of Islam, and Ihsan? That happened toward the very, very end of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the framework of our deen is established, right? The Quran is complete. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says your deen is complete, and our framework for our deen is complete. Great, awesome. If you don't believe in one of the pillars of the Hadith Jibril, you are out of the fold of Islam. Guess what? People didn't want to pay zakah. So the number one thing that Abu Bakr dealt with as soon as he became the Khalifa, by the way, how he became the Khalifa, there was a consensus of all of the Sahaba of the Medina that he will become the Khalifa. Again, the Shia narrative is different. We're going to touch on that briefly later on. Okay? So all of the Sahaba, there was a consensus that Abu Bakr will be the Khalifa. There were signs, obviously, right? Abu Bakr is the one who is leading the Salah. It was not Ali. Yeah, everybody agrees, even the Shia agree. It was Abu Bakr leading the Salah for so many days before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. Okay, great. So what in the minds of those who have weak Islam, what are they seeing? Oh my God, if you come up with a new religion, you got all this following. So guess what? It's a lot of false prophets said, okay, I'm a prophet. There was one famous one, you may have heard the name Musaylama al-Kadhab, he's called in the literature, the liar, Musaylama the liar. Basically, he claimed prophethood. There were many other false prophets that popped up. So Abu Bakr had to, and then number two, one thing we unfortunately skipped, I forgot about it in the Sirah lesson, was the siege of Taif. It's okay, we can go past that. But one of the biggest things that happened, and these are the Taif people also and others, they didn't want to pay the zakah. Nobody wanted to pay zakah. So they said, we're going to do everything else, we're not going to pay the zakat. So the number one thing that Abu Bakr had to deal with in his Khilafah, he actually fought the people who were the apostates. So it was established that anyone who does not believe in zakat, he is a non-Muslim. And Abu Bakr did jihad against all of those people. There was a lot of wars. There was a lot of apostasy. People left Islam after Rasulullah. Again, you can understand that, right? Not all of them have developed this iman yet. They're fresh Muslims, right? And Rasulullah passes away because Islam just exploded. Okay, so that's number one thing Abu Bakr dealt with. His Khilafah only lasted 2 years. He fell sick, and Rasulullah died at the age of 63. Abu Bakr also passed away at the age of 63. Okay, we're going to talk about briefly in 2 seconds in his death, but there's one important thing Abu Bakr did. As he's doing the jihad, a lot of the top Sahaba are getting martyred. And these are the Sahaba that are the Qurra, the actual, those who know the Quran really well, right? Those are the Hafiz, right? What we call the Hafiz. They know the Quran really well. Umar radiallahu anh got really worried that a lot of the Qur'an are dying, and the Qur'an is not yet compiled. We're going to go into the Qur'an sciences later, but I'm not going to give you a lot of detail about how the Qur'an was compiled. The first Qur'an compilation happened in the first or the second year after Rasulullah passes away. First Quran compilation. And we're going to talk about what do I mean by the first compilation. We're going to go into the Quran sciences inshallah later. So that happened, and and then Abu Bakr passes away. But Abu Bakr, before he passes away, he passes away out of natural causes. He just got really tired. He was basically as old as Rasulullah. He was just 2 years younger. 2 years after he was 63, he passes away. But he actually appoints Umar radiallahu anh. He's going to be my Khalifa. So Rasulullah never appointed anybody. Because if Rasulullah had appointed somebody, then that would become part of our religion, right? That every Khalifa has to appoint the next one, right? Because that's the Sunnah now. You have to follow the Sunnah. So there was actually a lot of wisdom where Rasulullah left it open, that he didn't appoint someone. Okay, so Abu Bakr appoints Umar radiallahu anh as a Khalifa. Umar, his Khilafah lasted 13 years. Okay, Umar radiallahu anh. And Islam is expanding. I'm not talking about the political aspects right now because again, I'm not good at history. Barakallah fiqh ya akhwaya. Yahfazakallah. So Umar radiallahu anh becomes the Khalifa. There's tremendous amount of expansion of Islam in the north, the east, lots of places, Persia. Let's look at that really quickly.
Question. So
Yes.
you mentioned that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu did something amazing in his last 2 years, which was appointing the next Khalifa. Just want to make sure that's what you were talking about.
Abu Bakr appoints, yes, Umar radiallahu anh.
Okay.
What I was saying is Rasulullah never appointed anybody directly. He appointed somebody indirectly, where he said Abu Bakr lead the salah. But Abu Bakr, before passing away, he actually appoints Umar ibn al-Khattab. Anyway, I'm sorry, I was wrong. His Khilafah lasted 10 years, okay? Lots of stuff happened. It's a really long, 1 decade long Khilafah, right? There's a lot of detail there. Conquest, Jerusalem is conquered. Okay, Muslims have Jerusalem, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Egypt. There's actually policies put in place. Umar radiallahu anhu is sending scholars in the different parts of the regions against new Muslims, right? They don't know what to do. So division in provinces, governors are being appointed. There's an actual council of Sahaba being established called the Shura. Lots of fiqh things Umar radiallahu anhu did as well. Maybe we will talk about this element when we do fiqh. It's probably not going to make a lot of sense to you right now, but for example, the whole Taraweeh thing. In Rasulullah's time, there was no Taraweeh. So Taraweeh started during Umar radiallahu anhu's time. I'm going to not do any technical stuff tonight. You guys are all like sleepy. So I'm not even going to go in there. And plus I'm not feeling it either. I'm not doing a good job. But there's a lot of things Umar radiallahu anhu did, okay, that are still being used today. For example, just a very brief example, this is going to resonate with you. What does the Quran say? What happens to the one who steals? His hand needs to be chopped off. In Umar radiallahu anhu, he lifted that Quranic commandment for a little while. Why? Because there was tremendous famine. People were starving. So he actually lifted the commandment for a while, because if somebody is stealing out of desperation and hunger, it doesn't make sense to chop their hands off, because they're not stealing when everything is hunky-dory, right? Yeah. So just something to think about. So Umar radiallahu anh was brilliant, like usuli person. Remember I talked about usul and frameworks of Islam and the actual core of Islam? I forgot to mention, by the way, before the Quran was compiled, during Abu Bakr's time, Abu Bakr did not want to compile the Quran, because he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never did it. I'm not going to do it. And he's right. And shows you the difference between what Abu Bakr was like. He was an ultra traditionalist. He was like a follower to the T of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr.
He also was a genius of fiqh too.
Yeah.
His
Of course,
genius
he's the one who calmed down Umar, right? So just think about it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never ordered to compile the Quran, right? So in our day and age, for example, if that happened, if somebody says, okay, let's say Quran is not compiled, right? It's just assume hypothetically in our day and age, let's say we don't have an actual book of the Quran. It's always been memorized. Let's just assume that for a second. And some scholar comes now and says, okay, let's and a Quran had always been passed down verbally and orally to people, and people always memorize, and there are a few people. Just pretend that world existed, which was exactly the world at that time. Right now, if some scholar comes right now and says, let's write down the Quran in a book so that more people can. So what do you think people will do to that person right now if that happened? Bid'ah. Really, yeah. What is Umar radiallahu anh doing? Is he doing bid'ah? It is bid'ah. But what kind of bid'ah? It's an innovation. Is it an innovation? Anyways, long discussion. We will talk about that later during the signs of the Quran. So I want you to think about the gravity of what just happened. Okay? It is huge. And it shows you how Umar radiallahu anh operated versus how Abu Bakr operated. Again, we didn't really get a chance to see how Abu Bakr really would operate because he didn't have a peaceful time. He was either fighting the apostates. Basically, he was just fighting the apostates, and he tired. And and the Quran was compiled during his lifetime. Anyways, so it was we didn't really see how Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu would have operated. But Umar radiallahu anhu, what is he operating based on? He started Taraweeh, he organized Taraweeh, bid'ah, another bid'ah, right? Lifted the penalty of the Quran. Quran has an order to chop off the hand. He's like, no, it's not the right time to implement that penalty. He compiled the Quran, recommended to compile the Quran. He increased the punishment for drinking. There were too many people drunk. He's like, no, this is not working. People are drinking too much. He increased the number of lashes. Why is that significant? It's actually in the Quran, the number of lashes, right? So he did another bid'ah. I'm just using that. I'm just sensationalizing. I'm using that word for a reason. I want you guys to think it's not bid'ah. Okay, Rasulullah told us to follow the Sunnah of the rightly guided Khalifahs. Okay, he's not doing bid'ah. I'm just exaggerating, trying to make you guys think. Because the Muslims increased Maqam Ibrahim. You know Maqam Ibrahim next to the Kaaba. It was really close to the Kaaba, obviously, because that's the stone that Ibrahim alayhi salam stood on to build the Kaaba, right? So obviously it's going to be right next to the Kaaba. Guess what's going on? It's there's people are coming for Hajj and it's getting really, really crowded. So Umar radiallahu anh has the Maqam Ibrahim moved out to where it is now. It used to be right next to the Kaaba. Okay? I told you it'll get juicy now. It's getting juicy, isn't it? Okay? Okay, you understand? Our deen is not black and white stagnant deen. Okay? It is based on principles. The prime example is Umar radiallahu anh. Okay? Prime. And not only that, Uthman radiallahu anh, right after him, also did the same. Anyways, so the time of Umar radiallahu anh was the golden age of the Khilafah, you can say. And we say golden age of Islam. I'm not talking about the golden age of Islam. Basically, it was a time of prosperity and peace. No fighting, no wars, expansion of Islam like all over the map. Okay, happening. And then Umar radiallahu anh was killed by a crazy guy. He was martyred. Somebody stabbed him, and he was at the age of 63. he bled to death, but he didn't bleed to death immediately. It took a while, right? I don't know how long it was, maybe 1 day, 2 days, radiallahu anhu. But before passing away, he didn't appoint somebody. He appointed a council, very different from Abu Bakr. He appointed, you remember the Ashara Mubashara, the 10 who were given the glad tidings? 6 of those people, because 4 of those people are the Khilafah, right? Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. Okay, so he appointed a party of 6 people. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the situation before Uthman's Khilafah, right? Like I said over here, I think I've already touched on these things. Expansion, a monumental expansion of Islam. It's going to come with growing pains, isn't it? Right? Politics, suddenly there's more people to manage, so you're having to send governors. Governors are not going to, not everybody's going to like the governors either. They're going to like their own people, right? There's a lot of politics happening right now. Can you imagine what's going on right now? Can you? I don't know if I'm able to translate to you the amount of political, the things that can go wrong. That potential for things to go wrong is building. Nothing wrong has happened, but the potential for things to go wrong is building. Okay, there's a lot of pressure. Money is flowing in, right? Flowing in. Not everybody's living in Medina. Is everybody a Sahabi who the Islamic expansion? No. A lot of the Sahaba have passed away, right? Killed, martyred. Who are these people? Are they Sahabi? No. These are the Tabi'een, you can say, right? They are the Tabi'een, the followers. They've never seen the Prophet. What kind of Iman would they have in their hearts? They're fresh new Muslims right now. 5 years, 1 year Muslim, 2 year Muslim. They don't know, right? They're just being won over through battles. And Umar radiallahu anh is very strict. Okay, he's very strict. His policies are really strict. And Uthman radiallahu anh, he's a very, very lenient person. Okay, we will talk about that briefly. But I just want you to understand. And there's resentment building against the Sahaba as well. Resentment, like people, the new converts is like, why are they getting? So remember, Umar radiallahu anh implemented the stipends to go to the Sahaba. So all of the monies that's coming in, who's in the number one spot? The wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're getting the biggest chunk. Then the next one are the early converts. Remember, I shared with you guys that there was a division that Umar radiallahu anh did. It was the early converts, then those who emigrated to Habasha, and those who, for example, did the Bay'ah of Aqaba, and those then who participated in Badr, and those that participated in Uhud, and so on and so forth. So the categories, and they were getting smaller and smaller shares. So all of the money is going in the treasury, but also all these Sahaba are getting the stipends. All of the new Muslims, they're getting nothing.
Abu Bakr has everybody take equal, same to everybody.
Correct. Abu Bakr's policy was, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam just gave everybody the same, so I'm going to do the same. So he was, again, difference between Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu anh. Abu Bakr kept the stipends the same. Everybody gets the same amount. Umar said that's not right. That's not fair. So he's like, no, it needs to be divided this way, because even Quran makes the division. So Umar radiallahu anh is using a lot of Quranic frameworks and concepts that Abu Bakr never got a chance to implement. But anyways, radiallahu anhum ajma'in. Okay, so chaos can happen. And guess what happened? So, number one, the 6 people, amazing Sahaba, Jannati Sahaba, they are the ones who Umar radiallahu anhu elected. Like, you guys, you 6 choose one among you who will be the Khalifa. So out of the 6, they will have to pick one of them. Okay? Who is in there? Okay. Who is in there? Yes. So Ali radiallahu anhu, obviously, he's going to be in it, right? Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Who's Abdurrahman ibn Auf? He's one of the early, first month, 2 month convert after Nubuwah. Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Okay? Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas. He is the Ansari who told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I will support you in Badr, even though he was not obligated to Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas. No, I'm sorry, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas. Is that right? He was an Ansari, right?
Yeah.
No, I thought at the Ashram, I'm okay, don't quote me on that. Okay, I may be wrong there. Uthman radiallahu anhu is there. Zubair ibn Awam, again an early convert. All of these, Talha, Ubaidullah, these are early converts. All like super senior Sahaba, like top-notch Sahaba, are being asked by Umar radiallahu anhu, you six decide which among you will be the Khalifa after me. By the way, Amir al-Mu'mineen was a title that Umar radiallahu anhu came with. Because what did people call Abu Bakr? They called him Khalifatu Rasulillah, the successor to Rasulullah. That's what it means. Khalifa means successor. So Abu Bakr's title was Khalifatu Rasulillah. So when Umar radiallahu anhu got the Khilafah, people started to call him Khalifatu Rasulillah, like the Khalifa of Rasulullah. So he's like, that's too long. There's some narrations about it. So he's like, no, just call me Amir al-Mu'mineen. I'm not a Khalifa of Rasulullah. He's like, this is too elevated of a title for me. I don't accept it. I'm a believer. You're a believer, and I'm your leader. So just call me the leader of the believers. So Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's the title stuck. Okay. All right. So these 6 people are going to elect. So 2 people backed out immediately. It's like, okay, no, we don't want the Khalif. We don't. Umar radiallahu anhu, he's passed away. So 2 people backed out. It's like, I'm not going to. We're not gonna be in the running. You 4 decide.
Which one?
I don't remember. Again, you're asking me tough questions.
At the beginning, they were telling Umar to give it to his son Abdullah, Abdullah bin Umar. He said to him, no.
Yeah.
One to be asked about the Muslims is enough, not 2.
Yeah. So
he was the one supposed to break the tie if there is a tie.
Right. That's Abdurrahman ibn Auf, I believe. So he was the one who's like, I'll arbitrate between. Anyway, 2 were left. Who 2 were left? Uthman and Ali radiallahu anhu. Okay. Again, these are early converts, like Uthman radiallahu anhu. He is the early convert. He is the one. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says he is so shy that even angels are shy of Uthman. He is a zuhad, basically a total ascetic. He used to pray all the time and fast. He was a super lenient guy. Okay. And Ali radiallahu anh, he's the cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? The son of his uncle Abu Talib, who grew up in his household. Okay. So Ali and Uthman radiallahu anh left, and Abdurrahman ibn Auf, okay, I will arbitrate between you 2. So clearly they didn't, though Ali and Uthman, they didn't back out, so they both wanted the Khilafah, right? So Abdurrahman ibn Auf did a whole consent, he individually talked to the top people. He talked to, he's like, okay, you 2 stay, I'm going to do my research. So he did his research, okay? And then there was a lot of people that voted for Ali, for Ali, and a lot of people voted for Uthman radiallahu anh, that he's the right next leader. So eventually, the votes for Uthman radiallahu anh was more. So he's like, okay, Uthman is going to. So he's the one who said, okay, Uthman, you're the next Khalifa, not Ali.
But Ali wanted?
Yes, of course he wanted it. He didn't back out of the 6, right?
No, like it's not like a choice of people, okay, who they want.
What do you mean?
An election, you mean?
Huh?
Like an election?
Like an election, but like a selection means like who wants which,
No, I mean, very simple. Uthman and Ali, they didn't back out like the others backed out. They wanted the Khilafah. They wanted it to be one of them, right? They didn't back out. Very simple. So this means they wanted to be the Khalifa. Okay, so hands down, Abu Bakr obviously was the next best according to the consensus of all of the Sahaba, the one who was rightly deserving of the first Khilafah. And according to the Abu Bakr, he didn't want anyone, and everybody agreed Umar is the next best Khalifa. Okay? So Umar and Abu Bakr were, their status is way up there. And they don't compare to Uthman and Uthman and Ali radiallahu an. Uthman and radiallahu compared to each other, they're almost the same, right? So there was, so that's why people couldn't make up their mind. Okay, who should be the Khalifa? But Ali radiallahu anh still was younger. Uthman radiallahu anh still was older. Anyway, lots of differences. Ali radiallahu anh got outvoted by the people, and then
it came down to one question at the end of it between both of them when Abdullah bin Auf and others with him asked Uthman a few questions, and the last question was Al-Quran was Sunnah and follow the Shaykhain, which is Abu Bakr and Umar. He said yes. The question was presented to Ali. He said the same thing except follow the Shaykhain, follow Abu Bakr or Umar. He said no, I have my own fiqh, which is he have the right to say no. I think different, like the difference between Abu Bakr and Umar in operation. He have the same mentality of operation. I don't have to follow what they did. I have my own fiqh. This is what brought Uthman above Ali. But both were, of course, both are amazing. Radiallahu anhum. Of course. Anyways, who are we to judge between these people? So I'm just telling you the narrative that we have. Okay. So Uthman radiallahu anh, he's the elected Khalifa. Ali radiallahu anh, given the bay'ah, okay, you're the Khalifa. He did that bay'ah immediately. Bay'ah, by the way, if you don't understand the concept, to give the pledge so everybody gave the pledge to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we pledge allegiance to you, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? That's called the bay'ah. Okay, it's a very honored concept in Islam to give somebody the bay'ah that I pledge allegiance to you. So when Abu Bakr became the Khalifa, everybody pledged allegiance to Abu Bakr. We accept you as the Khalifa. That's what it means. Then Umar was given the pledge, I accept you as the Khalifa. And then Uthman, and then everybody gave the pledge to Uthman radiallahu anh, including Ali radiallahu anh, I pledge allegiance that you are the Khalifa. Okay, you understand? And Ali radiallahu anh has a really elevated position in Uthman's radiallahu anh's council. So he has these top advisors, and Ali radiallahu anh is a top advisor. Okay. Uthman radiallahu anh's Khilafah was the Ummah. The schisms in the Ummah will happen during his Khilafah. Okay? So let me now pause. Before I talk about Uthman radiallahu anhu's Khilafah, let me read some statements from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? So in Bukhari, remember the keepers of secret of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam who knew the names of the munafiqun I told you about? Hudayfa. Okay? So Umar knew that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had spoken about the fitnah. Okay, fitnah means, what does fitnah mean, by the way? Do you guys know what the word fitnah means? What does it mean to you? Habibi, mush anta. Okay, what does fitnah mean? Test. Yes. Not just a simple test, a very big test. Very big test. Okay. So Rasulullah had predicted that fitna will happen after me. So Umar is asking Hudayfa, do you remember what Rasulullah said about fitna? What was it? Right? This is in Bukhari. So he said, I know it as the Prophet ﷺ said. And he said something. So Umar is saying, no, that's not what I mean. I ask about the fitna which will spread, he said, like the waves of the sea. I remember he said, how will the fitna spread like the waves of the sea? And then Hudayfa
radiallahu anh, he said, "O Amir al-Mu'mineen," remember this was Umar, right? "O Amir al-Mu'mineen, you need not to worry about the fitna, because there is a closed door between you and it." Okay? That's what he said. Then Umar radiallahu anh, very sharp, right? He asked, "Will the door be broken or opened?" And Hudayfa said, "No, it will be broken." Right? And obviously Umar radiallahu anh, he understood what that means. Like he will be killed. Like Umar will be killed. Like he's not going to pass away a natural death. He will be killed. The door will be broken. And then the fitna will start. Okay. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in Ibn Majah that once the sword is unsheathed in my ummah, it will never be put back until the day of judgment. Okay? So this is unsheathing the sword within the ummah, okay? Not against the enemies. This is like within the ummah, okay? There's going to be a lot. I don't know if we're going to be able to cover all of this, but I'm just painting, giving you some predictions. I know a lot of you don't have not heard these things before, but these are important because why am I covering this right now? Not to sensationalize. I want you to understand why Islamic sciences have developed the way they have developed, right? And why it becomes extremely important. Why are there sects out there? What's going on? Right, I'm trying to help you understand that. Okay, this is extremely important. And then also, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that my ummah will not abandon 4 things. Right, from the time of Jahiliyyah. This is pre-Islamic. My ummah will not abandon 4 bad habits. Bad habits. I will use the word very loosely. They will not abandon boasting the ranks. They will not abandon boasting the lineage. He said 2 more things I don't remember, but they're not important. But, tribalism and ansab and, my father, my tribe and all of that, Rasulullah said that my ummah will not abandon this kind of thought process. And they will not abandon pride and boasting ranks that I'm better than you kind of thing. Okay, so with this in mind, everything from here on that you hear from me or anyone else or any book you will pick up, just know it is full of bias. Okay? This is a time of extreme fitna. Okay? So anything after Umar radiallahu anhu, all of the history that you will read, take it with a big grain of salt. Okay? There are a lot of narratives out there because the schisms are going to happen. And whatever I'm going to tell you, it's full of tainted information. You know what I mean? It's a time of great turmoil. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. But right now we're in a time of turmoil as well. So it hasn't gone away. One of the reasons why I'm doing this right now. So just remember that. Okay? Because the history... So I'll tell you why that is, okay? Here's the reason. Remember the mentality of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum? What is the mentality of Sahaba? They protect each other. They protect each other. They don't call each other names. They don't tell bad stories about each other. They just don't. They might disagree with each other. They don't question each other's integrity. You remember that whole discussion about the Sahaba and how the status of them and what they think and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks so highly of the Sahaba? Okay. Not everybody else is a Sahaba. Muslim Ummah is huge right now. 13 years have gone by after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam right now. Huge. Politics, money, all of this is coming in. There's a lot of greed and all of this is happening. Guess who's writing the stories? Is it Sahaba? Are they the historians? Or who are the historians? Not them. Right? You get it? Okay? So there's a lot of crazy stuff happening right now. So nobody's preserving the chain of narrations, right? Nobody's saying I heard from this person. Like that concept has not developed yet.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a lot.
There's the Shia split has already happened when all of these histories are written down. Not at this time. No, I'm going to get to the Shia split, inshallah, in about 15 minutes, if I get a chance. So there's a lot of crazy time. So the science, Islamic sciences have not developed. There's a lot of he said, she said, and the history is like that happened. No, Ali should have been the first Khalifa. Some of those rumors are starting. Now what is happening? So these are governors out there in the different provinces now, right? That Umar radiallahu anh had set up, the Uthman radiallahu anh inherited. By the way, before all of this started, Uthman radiallahu anh led the second compilation of the Quran. The reason is because now there are all these new Muslims and they're learning how to recite the Quran, and we're going to go into much more detail when we do the Quranic sciences, inshallah. I'm just giving you an idea. And one of the Sahaba, he came to Uthman radiallahu anh. This is before all of the fitna started, okay? He came to Uthman radiallahu anh and was like, I'm worried. People are arguing with each other how to recite ayah. How to recite the ayah. I feel like we have to do something about this. Okay? And he was in Egypt at that time, and he saw like people arguing about how to recite the Quran properly, how to pronounce certain words. All of these are not Arabs, right? They're not Arabs, they're foreigners. They're reciting the Quran, maybe they heard from somebody, their teacher, and maybe, they're not a Sahaba, right? So this is not standardized right now. You understand? That one copy that Umar radiallahu anh, that Abu Bakr had compiled the Quran, it is in Medina. There's only one copy. And now Umar radiallahu anh has passed away, and that copy of that one mushaf, that huge mushaf, very thick, written on leather, camel leather skin, is with Hafsa, the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the daughter of Umar radiallahu anh. It was given to Hafsa as an amana for her to keep. Okay, so all of these Quran is being mispronounced. So the Sahaba are like getting worried. It's like, Uthman, Amir al-Mu'mineen, we have to do something about this. So Uthman radiallahu anhu essentially ordered, standardize the Quran. And the Quran that we have today, it's called the Uthmanic Mus'haf for that reason. Because it is Uthman's version, the standard codex of our deen, Quran. Is it called the Uthmanic Mus'haf because of that? He standardized the Quran. Long story, I will go into much more detail. I'll answer 1,000 questions you have on that, because that's my area of interest, inshallah, when we move away from history, inshallah. So he codified, and he asked all of the rest of the Quran copies, the invalid ones, to all be burnt. Okay? There were some Sahaba did not like that. Like Abdullah bin Mas'ud's like, I have my own personal copy. I'm not going to burn it. But he still burnt it because, it was the order of the Khalifah. But he did not want to get burnt. Abdullah bin Mas'ud, one of the early top elite of the Sahaba. Okay, anyways. All right, so I just want you to understand. So I forgot about that. So Quran compilation happened, and then Uthman radiallahu anh, there were governors in place. He didn't agree with a certain governor doing what he was doing, so he replaced the governor. Or something like, no, I think something happened with the governor. I don't remember exactly. Again, I'm not the history guy. You don't want to get history from me. I'm just giving you an idea. People started to accuse, murmuring started to happen about personal ad hominem attacks against Uthman radiallahu anh around 23rd Hijrah. Not 23rd Hijrah, I'm sorry. When did they happen? I have it here. Anyway, somewhere around, so Uthman radiallahu anh's Khilafah was 12 years. In the last 5 to 6 years is when it started to happen. So the rumors started to go against Uthman. People are spreading rumors. These are not the Sahaba. These are the external people. Okay? They're spreading rumors. And they alleged like 12 grievances against Uthman radiallahu anh. 12. For example, I'll give you an example. This is why I did the Sirah. Okay? So for example, did Uthman radiallahu anh participate in Badr? Do you remember? No.
Yes, he did.
Shh. Did Uthman radiallahu anh participate in Badr? He did not.
No.
He did not. Why did he not?
Because he had to take care of his parents or
his wife on Rasulullah, on the order of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So guess what these new Muslims who have no clue who Uthman radiallahu anh is, there's grievance number one, he didn't participate in Badr. He's not eligible to be Khalifa. There's 12 such grievances. So you can imagine now the list, okay? Second, well, one of the grievances against Uthman radiallahu anh, he was not present in Bayat al-Radwan. Remember in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, under the tree, they gave the pledge to, I know you don't know the details, I very, very briefly skimmed over that. Uthman radiallahu anh wasn't there. Why wasn't he there? He was the actual reason, he was actually sent to Mecca. So when in Treaty of Hudaybiyah, when the Muslims were not allowed to enter Mecca, remember? The Quraysh were saying you can't enter, right? Then the treaty happened. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Uthman radiallahu anhu to Mecca to actually negotiate. And he was tortured over there in Mecca. That's why he wasn't there in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, because he was in Mecca, he was stuck. So because when 1400 Sahaba are giving their bay'ah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Uthman is not there, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the bay'ah on his behalf. He's like, this hand, this is Uthman's hand. I'm gonna give the bay'ah on behalf of Uthman. Rasulullah did that.
So he considered as.
So one of the grievance. So can you imagine the grievance against listed against Uthman? He wasn't in the Bayat al-Radwan, so he's not eligible to be Khalifa, and so on and so forth. And also one thing, remember some of the Sahaba in Battle of Uhud when things got really heated toward the end of the Uhud, a lot of Sahaba were martyred. Some Sahaba ran away. Right, they turned their backs and ran away. One of them was Uthman radiallahu anh. It's mentioned in the Quran, but Quran then comes and forgives all of them, right? Well, that was another grievance against Uthman radiallahu anh. So on and so forth. So there were 12 such grievances. So guess what happened? A huge mob of these new Muslims and money-hungry people and all of these crazy people, uneducated people, violent people, they raided Medina. Okay? Somehow or another, the Sahaba got together and kind of calmed the situation down, and they left. That mob left. However, when the mob left, something happened where an alleged letter from Uthman got sent out. It's false. Alleged letter from Uthman radiallahu anhu felt out that when these guys reached there, kill them from Uthman. That was an order from Uthman. That he didn't do that, obviously. Somebody cooked it up, and then the mob was really riled up, and they came back to Medina. They sieged Uthman radiallahu anhu's house for 1 month. Even some Sahaba were involved. Who was protecting Uthman radiallahu anh? It was Ali radiallahu anh and Hassan and Hussein. They were trying to protect him. The mob, it's a really sad, heart-wrenching story of what I'm about to tell you. I'm not going to do justice to it. I don't want to go into too many details, okay? But, for example, the Muhammad, the son of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, was also anti-Uthman. He was about to kill him. Okay, so just FYI. Okay, so a lot of crazy stuff happened. That mob is sieging Uthman radiallahu anhu's house. Uthman radiallahu anh can't move out, so he was just for 1 month. His house was under siege, and Uthman radiallahu anh eventually the mob made its way into the home, and Uthman radiallahu anh was reading the Quran. And you must have heard, his blood spilt on the Mus'haf. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. Yeah, that happened. So he was actually killed by. It was actually Muhammad that came, but then he backed off. Uthman radiallahu anh, it's like, don't you fear Allah? Like what you're about to do. He came with a sword. What are you about to do? Don't you fear Allah? And think about your father. I spent my whole life with your father.
Abu Bakr, right? Uthman is pleading him. So he went away, but somebody else came and killed Uthman radiallahu anh. That started the fitna. Let me keep going, okay? After Uthman radiallahu anh was martyred, he was from a particular tribe, okay? Anyway, a lot of Sahaba. So I'm going to tell you a lot of shocking things right now. Okay, are you guys okay and ready? Okay, all right. Okay, because it's important to understand why things are the way they are. So just be ready, okay? Don't kill me, don't shoot me. And I'll tell you some wise things as well later on to think about. So after Uthman radiallahu anhu was martyred, some Sahaba wanted to, okay, who is now the elect? It's Ali radiallahu anhu. Okay, so he's elected as the Khalifa. And Ali, now some Sahaba are demanding Ali radiallahu anhu, you need to take revenge for Uthman. You have to avenge Uthman's death. This is not right what happened. Ali, and nobody knows till this day why he did not want to. He's like, I agree, but I don't want to do it now, for whatever reason. There was so much fitna that Khilafah has been in Medina right now, right? Where is the headquarters of the Khilafah? Abu Bakr, Medina. Umar, Medina. Uthman, Medina. He dies in Medina. So much fitna is ensuing. Ali radiallahu anhu moves the headquarters to Kufa. So he's no longer in Medina. Everybody's anti-Ali right now because he's not avenging the death of Uthman. So its tensions are now building. Okay. So tensions are building, so much so, and so I'm not going to throw a lot of names, but I'm just going to give you some idea. Obviously, the point is not to defame people. So it was Aisha radiallahu anhu who wanted revenge, and she was really upset with Ali radiallahu anhu. Why aren't you taking the revenge? Okay, it was Aisha radiallahu anhu. Rasulullah had explicitly ordered. It was a commandment. It was a law, Islamic law, for the wives of the Prophet to stay at home. They're so much so that the wives of Rasulullah didn't even go and do Hajj. Okay, that's how strict it was. The commandment, just for them, just for the wives of Rasulullah. Yes.
Is this why Shia people don't like?
She's what?
Is this why Shia people don't like Aisha?
Exactly.
That's the reason.
Yes, that's exactly. I'm getting there. Now it's making sense.
Yeah.
Okay, things are things are gonna start to click now, really a lot. Okay, why it is so? Aisha radiallahu anhu, and she has a point. Like, why is Ali radiallahu anhu? Why is he not taking he's not avenging the death of Uthman? And Ali radiallahu anhu has his own ijtihad, his own thought process, whatever it was. Allahu alam. There's another Sahabi. His name is Muawiyah. Okay, he was the governor of the Sham. He's the Syrian area. He was appointed by, who was he appointed by? I can't remember. I don't. Maybe Umar radiallahu. I can't remember He was appointed by one of the Khilafah. Remember, Umar appointed governors. So one of the governors is the Sahabi Muawiyah. Who is Muawiyah? Ibn Abi Sufyan. He's the son of Abu Sufyan, the politician Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan became Muslim radiallahu anhu when? After the conquest of Makkah, right? So Muawiyah, so all of the Sahaba, even though we talked about the status of the Sahaba, there is a reason now. Now you will understand why I talked about the different levels of the Sahaba. Now it's going to become extremely important. Who are the top Sahaba? Even Quran makes it distinguish. I told you, I showed you the ayah in Surah Al-Hadid, right? That the ones who became Muslim from before the conquest, they're not the same. Quran says are not the same as those who fought and spent wealth after the conquest of Makkah. They're not the same. Who is Muawiyah radiallahu anhu? He's after. Anyways, Muawiyah was of the same tribe as Uthman radiallahu anhu, I believe. So he joined forces essentially with Aisha radiallahu anha. It's like that we must avenge Uthman radiallahu anhu's death. Long story short, Aisha radiallahu anha is extremely upset, and she goes along with the help, Muawiyah's help, goes with a lot of Sahabi that were on her side. So kind of things are splitting right now. You understand, right? It's a kind of proto-split. You understand? So there are the Sahaba that are with Aisha radiallahu anha, and there are Sahaba that are with Ali radiallahu anha. You see what's going on? So the Sahaba that are with Ali radiallahu anhu right now, so we use the term Shia, right? So what does Shia mean? It means the party. That's all it means. So that's the short form. The long form is they actually call themselves Shia to Ali, the party of Ali. So versus the party of Aisha. So that's where the word term Shia comes from. Okay? So we just shorten it now. Actually the full form is Shia to Ali. Okay. So famous Battle of Camel happens. It was not again, all of this narrative, take it with a big grain of salt. Okay, I've already told you that. Okay, so Aisha radiallahu anha goes on a camel to Kufa to Ali to confront Ali. It's like take revenge. Again, all of these new Muslims, non-Sahabas, some Sahaba are involved. A lot of the Sahaba did not want to get involved. They're like in Medina. They're like, we're not gonna participate. Some Sahaba do get involved, but most of the people these are all the new people. Okay, so a battle ensues. A lot of Muslims get killed. Tens and thousands of Muslims. Again, these numbers can be exaggerated. Okay, because again, back then people didn't know, couldn't estimate like these kind of large numbers. So battle ensues. A lot of Muslims die. These are Muslims, not necessarily Sahaba, right? But a lot of Muslims die. Sahaba pass away. But Ali and Aisha, they essentially had a truce, and Ali himself, radiallahu anhu, took Aisha personally to Medina. It's like, go. Now there was truce between them, so that happened. So that is called Ghazwatul Jamal, the battle of the camel. Okay, understand why it happened? Because Aisha radiallahu anha wanted a revenge for Uthman radiallahu anhu. I'm just giving you the short version right now, okay? Really, some top companions, Talha, another very, very, very early companion, and Zubair ibn Awam, very, very, very early companion. They both are lost in this battle of the camel. Now, Ali radiallahu anhu wants Muawiyah gone because he's causing problems. So he sends an edict to replace Muawiyah from the Syrian governorship. Mm-hmm.
Because Amir Muawiyah supported Hazrat Aisha.
Yes. Well, not because he supported Aisha, because he was creating this division right now. Whatever reason, Ali radiallahu anhu has his own ijtihad and rationale. Okay, so juicy stuff. You guys are really into this. I can tell. Okay, okay. These are horrible times in our ummah. Okay, so all of this is true. The details may not be true, but all of this is true. Okay, okay. So Ali radiallahu anhu wants Muawiyah replaced. Muawiyah does not agree And essentially there's a battle between Muawiyah's army and Ali's army. You understand? Who is in the army? Again, it is not a lot of Sahaba. It is all of these crazy people. Remember that one guy I told you from Harura, that guy who jerked the collar of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Those kind of people are in there. Okay? I need a board. Can somebody get the board? Because it's going to make more sense. In that battle, a lot of blood is spilt. A lot of blood is spilt. Again, estimates are, 100,000 Sahaba or 100,000 Muslims die, are murdered. Funny thing. Again, this is narrative. How true is it exactly? But it is said that because they're both Muslim parties, okay, they're both Muslims. Muslims and Muslims are fighting right now. When it was time for prayer, they used to pray together. And then they used to go back to fighting. Again, it is said. Also, when people are dying, they're doing group janazas together. Okay. Now, somebody came up with a tactic. Okay, it is said like somebody from Muawiyah's radiyallahu anhu's party. Somebody came up with a tactic. They put so now Qur'ans are being printed right now a little bit, or copied, not printed, but copied. So some of the people, some of the Muslims, they put Qur'an on lances. The lances that you have, Qur'an on the lances. They wanted the war to stop, the battle to stop. Okay, that actually helped the battle to stop. Now the Haruri people, remember those people? There were about 6,000 of them. 6,000, 8,000, some number, some large number like that. They were part of, I don't remember, I think they were part of Ali's team. Yes, they were part of Ali radiallahu anhu's group. Because they were in Kufa. So that's where they were. It's in the northeast. Let me kind of draw like pictures for you. I'm not that good. Is this a dry eraser? So this is the Arabian Peninsula, right? So this is Medina is right here, right? Makkah is right here. Okay? Nobody's in Medina right now, right? But where's Kufa at? Exactly. So Iraq, right? Kufa, Basra, right here. Okay. And where's Sham? It's right here, right? Here's Egypt, right? This is I'll just write it in Arabic, Sham. This is what is now called Iraq. It wasn't called Iraq then. This is Muslim. Okay. So what I want to tell you is right now, who's the party of Ali radiallahu anh? It is all of the Sahaba. Okay? And Muawiyah didn't have a lot of Sahaba with him. Okay, he had other people. But also, it included which people? So it included the Haruri people, right? The people from here. Okay? So the Haruri people. When Muawiyah and Ali radiallahu anhuma, when they had a truce, okay, we're not going to fight anymore. There's a lot of blood that's been spilled. These people said, what? Why? This doesn't make any sense. Why are you not fighting anymore? Because one of you have to be right. If you both stop, then you both can't be right. One of you have to be right. You see the way the brain is working? Like you can't both be right. Because you both held the Quran. There's something I'm forgetting. You both held the Quran. The Quran can basically support both of you. So you both can't be right. One of you has to be right. You need to continue to fight. and the right party has to win, etc., etc. Long story short, they broke away. They broke away. They're like, we, neither you are Muslim nor you are Muslim. You're both kafir. Because you both held the Quran and you stopped fighting and you can't have a truce, so you're both kafir. So they call them kuffar. These people. Okay? They call the party that broke away. Okay? There's a term for that in Arabic. They are henceforth now known as the Khawarij. The people who exited. The people who left the fold. This is not what they call themselves, obviously. This is what we call. So, the first official split in the Ummah happened in this battle of Siffin. This is the battle of Siffin, which is, so the first one is the battle of the Camel. This is the battle of Siffin, because it happened in an area called Siffin. So now this party is formed, they went away. Okay, so essentially, there's a lot of detail here, which I'm trying to skip over because I want to get done. I want to get to the point here. So this is the first split in the Ummah. The Khawarij are formed, right? You see that? Okay. Then Ali radiallahu anh appointed Ibn Abbas. Remember Ibn Abbas, the cousin of Rasulullah, the son of Abbas? Remember the smart kid who became really, really smart? He learned from all of the companions, Ibn Abbas. So he sent Ibn Abbas to argue with the Khawarij. Okay? I would love to show you the detail of the argument that Ibn Abbas is amazing, but it's going to take like 30 minutes, so I'm going to skip it right now. Maybe we'll do it another time. The arguments that Ibn Abbas came up with, because these guys are crazy, like their brains are not working. It's like, how can... so basically what they're saying is, if you commit a major sin, you're a kafir. We don't believe that. So that they have now they developed a different aqidah. Their creed is becoming different. Okay? You understand? So this is the first split of the creedal split. Okay, so Ali radiallahu anhu sent Ibn Abbas to debate with them. Ibn Abbas succeeds, and out of the 8,000 or 6,000, like 3,000 people actually now, suddenly a light bulb turns on in their head, and they join. It's like, okay, we don't want to be those people anymore. We want to be normal people now, like you. So if you've heard the term Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, have you heard that? Yep. Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I want to break this down for you. Okay, it's important. I can't write in English. Can I write in Arabic? Everybody can read Arabic, right? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Ahlus Sunnah. I can't write Arabic clearly, so. Wal Jama'ah. Ahlus Sunnah, people of the Sunnah. Obviously, this is people of Rasulullah. What's the word Jama'ah? Where does that come from? Actually, this is taken from Hadith literature. It means the group. So all of the Sahaba who agreed on following the Sunnah of Rasulullah are called Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah at this time. So right here, these people who split up, they are called Khawarij because according to all of the Sahaba at that time and even now, Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah does not include this mentality. That creed is a separate creed. They're not Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You understand? Okay. More splits are going to happen.
Did the Shia arise from them?
No.
No?
Some. Yeah. So remember some people came back to... okay. Then they did crazy things like... Remember I told you one story which actually led to the next battle. So a couple of just these Khawarij people started to harass a Sahabi and his servant, the pregnant servant. Yes, the Sahabi and his pregnant servant. they started to harass them. You with Ali, we're with them. These are the people who haven't converted, who've gone back to the light side again. They're still on the dark side. Okay. So they started to harass the traveling companion, and they murdered them ruthlessly. While you remember, I told you like they were worried about one of the Khawarij people stealing one piece of date from somebody's farm. He's like, you did haram. You put that you didn't ask permission from the owner to eat that piece of date. But at the same time, they're torturing a Sahabi, not an ordinary Muslim, a Sahabi, okay? And they literally tortured the Sahabi, killed the Sahabi, and they split the stomach of the female, of the pregnant female, split the stomach of the pregnant female, killed. Ali radiallahu anh found out, and he went all out war on these people. So he chased them, he defeated them, he killed most of them. Right now, so I don't want to label, okay, what happened there is really, really bad. Their mentality is really, really bad. By the way, is Khawarij still around? I just want to end that way. Yes, they are, but they're not called Khawarij. They have a much more softer creed now. So there's a sect in Muslim, I'd say Muslim. I won't say Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So, okay. Ahlul Sunnah you can pause, it's fine. Ahlul Sunnah